Coming to you from KPO Studio of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm your host, Darrell Pastor G. Gitron. Get ready for another experience, another episode of Another Brother's Story.
It's an honor, a pleasure to have you here, man. I've actually watched you from afar, from social media, and do your thing, and you are good at what you do. I see there are people that you really motivate and energize, and that you transfer some good spirit to, and so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you here today, because I know that all of that comes from someplace, what embodies a person, to want to not only do it for himself, keep himself fit and healthy and have such an optimistic mind frame, but you can look at the videos, and take from there that these are people, and then you see different size people, that these are people who are passionate, energetic, excited about it, not like they're being tortured, and so they engage, and you engage with them. I've seen you go by a couple, and you do certain things, so that says a whole lot about you, more than I think you realize is being portrayed, because it's a natural character that does that, natural spirit that does that, So, in saying all of that, introduce yourself to the world.
I'm Agapé Williams, born and raised from Atlanta, Georgia. I've been just about everywhere doing what I do. Okay. Being on the south side of town of Atlanta. I've also, north side is also where I do my thing, okay, as well. But at Agapé, it's a lot about Agapé that a lot of people are always asking me, well, who is this guy? Where is he coming from? Where has he been? Mm-hmm. I've been all over. I mean, there's nothing that I can or can't do. I feel that, whenever the Spirit moves me to do something, I just go ahead and do it. I don't question it. We're supposed to question. So Agapé, it kind of took place, the name itself, from my spiritual mother. And I didn't realize what it meant until she actually explained it to me, which is God's unconditional love. Exactly. My first name is actually Remond. Remond. It's okay. French.
Okay. For what?
For, you know what? I can't even tell you what it's for.
Okay.
But parents, I'm actually part Dominican, so it's kind of like, with everything, it's like, okay, who is Agapé? Well, I had to find myself first of all, and I have to first of all give all the thanks to God above, because without Him, there's no me. So basically, once I realized I was rediscovering myself spiritually, and I was led to the name Agapé, it was more like, wow, okay, I can kind of see that. That's me.
Right.
I am God's unconditional love. So I said, well, I'm gonna take that name, and in anything I do, I'm gonna incorporate this name. And so far, people love me. They say that I'm some, like, I don't want to say put it to like where I'm idolized, which I specifically tell people, don't idolize me. I'm not an idol. I'm just an average guy, an average Joe, a guy next door.
Right.
So my students, they love me. Family, they love me. Friends, they love me. Just, everybody wants a piece of the Agapé, so it's like, okay,
Oh wow.
So I'm excited about still even what I do outside of the Zumba,
right, or
actually my actual working or traveling. I'm just excited about everything all together.
Right.
So.
Okay. Good. I love the way you describe your name, and it's awesome how you know the meaning behind Agapé, but you don't your birth given name. Hey, yeah, you'll find out one day. But if you never do, because you understand God's unconditional love, which ways bigger than everything else,
Yes.
greater than everything else, and just to be a light, to be, and because it's always good to know how you feel you are perceived by people,
Right.
and so you feel the energy that people love you, they receive your love, that's awesome, because sometimes there's a lot of people who don't know what people think, how people feel, and or they don't feel that people feel good towards them. Do you feel you have any enemies? Because you say everybody loves you.
Everybody loves me,
Right.
but I know that there are, I wouldn't say
Haters?
enemies. Well, you make those your motivators, of
Okay,
course.
exactly.
But hating me or hating people that might hate me, I
Right.
think that people may dislike the things that I may do, or they're just not understanding what I do, and that's
Right.
why they may tend to do, or I like to say, hate
Right.
on me. But no, everybody has their own story and reason why
Right.
they do or say or feel the way that they feel.
Man, but listen, right now I'm feeling like Oprah interviewing Pharrell. You giving me that same kind of, when I watched that interview, tears is in my eyes or whatever, and I was on his every word because he was just so profound, and so positive, and he was taking whatever took place in his life and and challenging it at a good place. I love that.
Yeah.
Because I do believe that all things work together for our good, and so like you said, even the haters are motivators. So you were born here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes,
Grady baby.
I am.
Wow.
So that's how I'm
Yeah, Grady baby.
actual. It's very rare that you find that. We're very, very rare breed.
Right.
They usually travel off somewhere, and
Right.
most people here aren't from here. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Okay. And I guess one of the things that's kept you here is because you actually do travel a lot, so you still get around. Why are you still in Atlanta though?
I'm still in Atlanta because I think that God wants me to be here for a purpose. I don't know the full purpose of why.
Mhm.
I just know that He wants me to be here. He'll send me other places, but this right here, this is stomping ground. This is hometown.
Okay.
So that's why I'm still here.
Where did Zumba come from
Zumba.
for you?
For me,
Mhm.
Zumba, it took place, it was when I was at a low point in my life, and I was actually with a young lady, one of my ex-female girlfriends or whatever,
Okay.
and she kind of introduced that to me. She said, "Oh, come on, try the class out." I was like, I don't know, maybe. So I actually went to the class with her, and I'll never forget the first instructor. Her name was Kareen, and she was amazing. She was like all over the place. She had so much energy. I'm like, yeah, I can feel that energy.
Right.
It's like, how you get that energy and it's transferred.
Yes.
And it was transferred between us, and I was like, you know what, I'm coming back. I kept going back and kept going. End up becoming an instructor. So
Wow.
I was like, man, I see myself a year ago, 3 years ago, and see where I was at a low point in my life.
Right.
To where I tell you this, it was to a point to where I didn't want to live. I was going through so much, so it was like, wow, it's like I have something finally that I can say, hey, it's something that I want to do,
Right.
somewhere, a place that I actually belong. So became a part of the Zumba family, and the rest is history.
Wow. Wow. And the future is a mystery. You say you were going through a lot.
Yes.
Care to share?
Well, with the female that I was with, I would say, she was supportive, but not as supportive as I thought she should have been. And then being family-wise, not having that connect, and then not really fully dealing with things of the past, like friends that actually were killed, or that passed away from illnesses, and it's like it just seemed like every time I turned around, someone was dying. So it was like, okay, how do I deal with this? So I got into a depressional mode, and it just took me down a spiral. And so I I had to find myself. I was lost. I had to find myself. I had to pray about it. I had to ask God, hey, well, God, please help me. Show me something. Just give me anything, just a sign. And so finally, I just said, you know what? I rededicated myself to God. And so He's been transforming my life. Every time I turn around, it's being transformed. It's like, hey, this is what I need you to do. He talks to me and He's like, this is what I need you to do. And I don't question it. So once it's done, with whatever it is that He's asking me to do, I take that and I use it, and then He gives back to me. So it's not like most people think it's about money. It's not about money. It's about actually putting yourself in a place where God wants you to put yourself there, not to be afraid. And yeah, there was times I was like, but I still, whatever God says to do, I did. And it's just been a blessing because financially, I'm not struggling before like I was struggling financially. I'm not really struggling financially now. I'm in a better place in my mind, spiritually, physically, morally. You know, I'm all, even sexually, I guess. You know, I'm in a better place.
Right.
So it's not like I need.
Right.
Because through God, you know, you don't need anything if you have Him.
Right.
So.
Wow. You made mention that you thought about, it probably came close to committing suicide. How was that? Paint the picture of how were you feeling? What did you do? What were you going through at this time? Was this the same time you just spoke about?
Yes, it's I was with this same young lady, and I just felt like I didn't get the love from this person that I needed. I was giving so much and was not given anything in return. And I just said, well, you know, I sat in my car and I contemplated and I thought, it's like, how can I get out of this? Do I go ahead and end this, or do I continue to fight? And I actually ended up going through a rehab, you know, for depression, and you know, if you thought about committing suicide. I thought about it, so you know, they took me and they kept me in, and I was there for maybe 2 weeks. She eventually, because this was around Christmas time, Thanksgiving time, somewhere around there. Yeah, and so of course during that time, it's always rough for me because that's like my mother. She passed away. When she passed away, she had that multiple myeloma cancer, and so my mother, she passed away in 2002. And so it was rough for my sisters, you know, rough on my family, and I was the one trying to be strong, and I was the one that was, you know, saying, hey, we get through this, you know. And that's what she told us: don't ever allow anything to break us from each other. Stay a family, because we're all that we have. And so I kept that, but even though they grieved, I didn't grieve. I kind of held back, or I tried to grieve before the time. And how do you really ever get over, you know, something like that? And so I said, well, you know, even though I go through, I'm gonna get through. I go through to get through. And so I go by that.
How old were you then?
I think I was about 25, 26 back then when that happened. And so it was just like, okay, well, you gotta find yourself. You gotta find a way to get through this. And so I struggled, and it was just like all these things, like I said, people passing away, people leaving, people telling me, oh, I'll never leave you. And they did. And I had to.
They did, meaning they died, or they just left?
They died and they left. And so it kind of placed me back into that same mode to where I was like, you know what, forget it. I'm done. So, but I pushed through.
To get to. So some of the stuff with your mom and other death and other people leaving you, this stuff took place before the encounter or your relationship with the young lady.
Correct.
And so now you're dealing with this with her and you feeling unloved.
Right.
Or not receiving it. And I always tell people there's this book called The 5 Languages of Love. And it's important. Have you ever heard of it?
I've heard of it.
It's important to know not only what your love language is,
Yes.
but what other people's love language are. Because if you're going to be connected to them, you could be giving them a love language that you're familiar with that they still don't even realize that they don't feel love because you're saying it, but they need to see it. Or you're giving them something, but you're never saying it, or you're saying it and you're giving them something, but you're never touching them, affection, and so those different 5. So while you're dealing with this, what was it so that she wasn't giving you specifically, or that she was doing or saying to make you get to this place of, was it all of this combining together and that being the last straw? What was it to make you get to that point?
I think when she stopped listening, because in a relationship there has to be that form of communication. When you don't have that, it kind of breaks things to where it's like the downside. It's like a downslide, and having others involved in your relationship, or you're getting advice from people that really don't even know that person, or they may be single themselves.
Right.
And that's never good, getting advice from people, because they're going to tell you what they would do or what they wouldn't do.
Right.
And that's not fair to the other party.
Right.
If you want to get help, go in, get counseling if need to be, for yourself or together. And you work it that way. And that was really one of the things that actually I think was the communication, starting to communicate with others about the relationship, and that caused other issues because you're now listening to what those people are telling you. So that's the main thing, that the problem that we had.
So you're sitting in your car and you actually contemplating suicide.
Yes.
At this time. How did you think about committing suicide?
I just thought about, slicing my throat. I actually thought about taking a hose and taking it and putting it into the car where I was and just inhaling all that. Even antifreeze. I was just so at a point where I was at a low point in my life. But God said no. I actually started to do the antifreeze thing, and I passed out at a. This is the first time I've ever told anybody this, but I passed out at a fire department. I called. I was starting to black out, and they found me, and I actually died. And I came back, and I died again, and I came back, and only thing I remember was I saw this light, and I was like, "Oh, God, is that you? Is that you, God?" And the light said, "No, but you're not gonna die. You're not gonna die today."
Right.
And so they had to. It's like the dialysis where they flush your blood and put it back into you. They did that to me, and the guy, I said, "Well, am I dead yet?" He says, "Not on my clock." And it was just amazing, and that was just a wake-up call for me, to where God said, "I'm not through with you yet." He said that I'm not done. Your mission is not done. You got to keep going. You got to keep fighting. You got to keep pushing.
Right.
You got to still believe in me, because I'm believing in you.
Right.
And so I had to keep pushing. I had to keep going. So I've been fighting, and I've even with some of these other people that I see, and I realized, I said, I'm able to change someone's life because I've been through something. And so I speak with people. I like to encourage people. I will write my quotes. inspirational quotes, personal quotes, on Facebook. So because there's somebody listening,
Right. Yeah.
that may hear that, that may cause them to not to do a decision or take a bad action or on something on their life or something that they're about to do, and it may just change the course of them in general. So I'm just thankful. I thank God every day just for being here. So
Wow, dude, man, I am your energy. You are such an inspiration. A positive energy, and just listening to you, your every word is like it's just anointed with experience and understanding. It's refreshing. It's good. It's good. And you're going to bless greater people, more multitudes of people than you think you have already. And I encourage you to take every possible means. Paul made mention of, take every opportunity. Use every opportunity to take every possible means available to you. God has a way of expressing Himself in the earth through us. And as I'm listening to you, that's what's taking place. You've allowed yourself to be a vessel for God to express Himself in the earth to others through you. So you said your mother passed earlier. Well, first of all, how long ago was this encounter, the suicide?
this was like later, like into my last relationship that so this was roughly from 2012 that me and this young lady, we were together, and actually I'm sorry, 2011, and from 2011 to 2014, 2000 into 2015.
Okay.
And so yeah, roughly about 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
My mother, of course, she passed away in 2002. So that's a big gap there.
Right.
So
you was battling with this all this time.
I was battling with that, and I actually battled with a few other things as well. With in between my mother and friends getting killed, and dealing with the relationship that I was in, because I've always wanted it. I've always wanted it. Now, during this time as well, I was married also at one point for about, in between that time frame, for like almost 10 years.
Wow.
That relationship didn't work because a person, if they don't want it, then it's not going to work if one does and the other one doesn't.
Right.
So, I dealt with that. That was a struggle for me, knowing that, I'm wanting it, she's not, or she may have wanted it, in the beginning, but by trying to find things to kind of sabotage or believe in things, thinking things are something there and it's actually not.
Right.
They usually say when people try to accuse you of things or whatever, they're usually out there doing it themselves. So find out that she was actually out there doing some things that she wasn't supposed to be doing. You're married, and this is nothing to take for granted. This is nothing. When you're married, you two are linked,
Right.
equally yoked.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually we, went our own separate ways. I have nothing against her. I mean, she has my daughter, and I love her because she has my daughter. But I can't. She and I would never be on that level like that as far as relationship or anything like that anymore. So, but like I said, I love her because she has my daughter. She, and my little girl she's adorable. She's my everything.
Look at the smile. I love it.
She's my everything.
Yes, I love it.
So, I don't know, I get like that when I talk about her.
That's good. I love it.
Yeah.
How old is she?
She's 8.
Okay.
She's 8 years old. And
Right.
the thing that I really hate though is that the fact that she keeps her from me. And that's my biggest thing. I mean, I've reached out, I've sent emails, I've tried to talk with her, but it's like there's no give back, you know. And it's not fair for me, but it's really not fair for my daughter. Because she's gonna wonder, like, when she gets older, you weren't there. Why weren't you? You know, kids are very, you know, they're very inquisitive, and they know, you know. And I think, you know, I would hate for this to happen, but I think eventually, when she does really truly understand what actually transpired, I would hate for her to do this, but she may have some resentment from her mom because of what happened. So, but I would want her to do that.
Right.
You know, still love your mother, still be there in your mother's corner, still love her. Just love her even, you know, when you don't want to. That's just like with God and us. God loved us so much.
Love, man. You just.
God loved so much, though. I mean, seriously, God loved us, and He gave us His Son.
Right.
That's how much He loved us.
Oh wow.
So, I wouldn't want her to do that to her mom.
Right. That's such a. Listen, and I feel you're genuine with it, but it's such a good place.
Yes.
To be. Were you always at this place?
I was always, well, not in the beginning. I have to say, not in the beginning. Wasn't so much so, but as time progressed, I had to kind of wisen up and say, hey, this is the reality of things.
Mm-hmm.
This has been placed right in front of you. This, you know, you can't allow that to dictate what you're about to do or your potential of in the future, what may transpire. And so I said, well, okay, let me see this through. God help me. God, please help me. Show me mercy and give me grace. And so He did that. And I had to humble myself and accept humility, because humility is the biggest part of growth. And so I had to accept it. So.
Your daughter's 8, and so she came out of she was conceived during the marriage.
Well, she was adopted. She's
okay.
Biologically, we couldn't,
okay.
So we adopted.
Okay.
And awesome. I love her just as she, you know, she's from my own loins, and so I have to, you know, people say, well, she's not. Look, that's mine. Yeah. I will die for that one.
Once again, more so just like God.
So yes, yep.
Adopted into the family.
Absolutely.
Awesome. What's her name?
Jasmine.
Okay. Was she already named when y'all got her?
No, she was a baby. She's this little cute little baby. It's like this little bitty creature that comes into the earth, you know, comes to this world. It's like, just look at her and smell the, you know, the baby. You know, you have the baby hair and the way the baby smells.
Right. Yeah. I loved it. I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and that's so much something special about you, man. Because every guy does not embody that kind of, you know. I was overly. I mean, that's me. Yeah. Like I said, and I was talking to you before. Listening to you sounds so much like me. You know, I mean, like I'm hearing myself. You know. And so, and my son could attest to this, you know, whatever, because even to this day now, when I see little boys, I say, oh, look at him, come here, you know. And I remember I'm constantly referring back, you know, but I also have a daughter, you know, and so I understand, you know, when you said that the other young lady that you were with, when you thought about committing suicide, okay, so this was after the marriage.
This was after the marriage.
Okay, so